All right. Well, Georgia takes down Tennessee 41-17. This game started out really, really solid for both teams offensively. Both teams on their first two drives scored 10 points. Or sorry, not their first two drives. Their first four drives scored 10 points. And then Georgia just put it on Tennessee. Tennessee offensively in the first half, they were able to move the ball. They had like 70 yards rushing in the first half, which is pretty good on around 16, 17 attempts. But then in the second half, Tennessee finished with negative 15 yards rushing. That is all those sacks and all those tackle for losses. Tennessee had 17 attempts in the first half. They got 70 yards. They had 19 attempts in the second half and had negative 15 yards. They finished with about a yard per carry in the game. We'll talk about that later. But, yeah, Georgia rolls over Tennessee in a hostile road environment. I don't even think this game was sold out, though, but still, it's a good win. Stetson Bennett played fine for the most part. He actually had a solid game, goes 17 of 29, 213 yards, one touchdown. Did some damage on the ground, too, 8 carries, 40 yards, and he also had a touchdown run. Stetson Bennett was actually making plays today on third downs. And even that 1 second and long early in the game, right before the half, it was about 2nd and 16. He steps up, looks like he's going to take off, and he throws a bullet about a 12-yard pass to A.D. Mitchell. We'll talk about him in a second. But that was one of many solid plays that Stetson Bennett was actually able to make today. And then A.D. Mitchell pretty much had all of his 5 catches in the first half on that last drive. He had 5 catches for 65 yards. It's a solid game. But the story was James Cook. James Cook had a total of 13 touches for almost 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. What a game he had. He had 10 carries for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he had 3 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown. What a game for James Cook. Other than that, rushing-wise, if you look at the stats look pretty good. 41 carries, 274 yards rushing against a really solid front 7. This Tennessee defense, for the most part this year, has been solid through the rush game. They've been kind of hit or miss. You look at some of their games, like to Florida, they gave up quite a bit on the ground. Even to Bama, one of the running backs, Robinson, had a decent game. The Ole Miss game, for the most part, Tennessee shut down the rush except for the quarterback keepers. But still, Tennessee's not a terrible rush defense team. They are not a good defensive team as a whole. And Georgia was able to go for almost 500 yards on Tennessee. They were pretty balanced again. It's what Georgia does best. But Georgia did not turn over the ball today, and that was pretty solid from Stetson Bennett. Georgia was able to create 2 turnovers in this game. We'll talk about the defense now. The most impressive part was the second half and complete domination. Joe Milton came in to relieve Hooker, went 6 of 9 for 88 yards and a touchdown. Okay, that's great. His last 2 drives were against the second and third teamers. That was pretty much Tennessee's entire offense in the second half. The last 2 drives of Joe Milton. Now, they were able to move the ball. Rushing-wise, though, they were completely dominated. And as I said earlier, Georgia gave up 70 yards rushing in the first half. Kirby Smart hates giving up a lot of rushing yards. And Tennessee was averaging around almost 4 yards per carry. But then in the second half, Georgia just put it on, and they recorded over 5 sacks in this game. Channing Tindall, what a game he had. I think he had 3 or 4 sacks himself, and they were all in the second half. So that was very, 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 very pleasing. Small Tennessee's best running back was held to 12 carries, 49 yards coming into this game. He was looking at almost 400 yards this year. He's a sophomore. Tennessee just wasn't able to run the ball. The passing, Hendon Hooker, he did throw for 240 yards, but he threw 37 passes, so that's barely even 7 yards per attempt. He had that one terrible interception to Kendrick. And like we said earlier, Joe Milton just came in for relieving duties. So there's not really anything else to say about that. Tillman had a really good game. Cedric Tillman for Tennessee. He had 10 catches for 200 yards. But that's really about it. A 41-17 dominating win for UGA. And Georgia faces an FCS teams next week, I believe. They play – let me see who they play. A Charleston Southern, not a good FCS team. So Georgia should take care of business, and then they finish the year with Georgia Tech. So Georgia's final test of the year finally is over before the SEC title game. Georgia Tech isn't a good team at all. Georgia Tech just lost again today, gave up 41 points to Boston College. Didn't look good. But yeah, let's get to comments. I predicted 42-17. I predicted 42-14. I'm not surprised at all that Tennessee scored 17 points. Tennessee's probably the best offensive team that we played up to this point. Although we do, here's the thing. Every game that Georgia plays a solid team, at least a team with a winning record, it seems, Georgia's always doubted. And it's kind of funny. A lot of people expected Tennessee to score UGA. And, Tennessee was getting yards. They almost had 400 yards of total offense. Like I said, 88 of those yards came against second teamers. So let's be real here. But still, Tennessee was moving the ball a bit. Just couldn't get in the end zone. That's how good Georgia's defense is. Really, that second and third quarter, that second to mid third quarter range, Georgia went on a what? I think it was was it 24, maybe 31 point run there. So yeah, no, it was 27, right? 27 point run, which there's your game for you, Tennessee. But Tennessee just doesn't have enough talent yet, in my opinion, especially defensively, to compete with UGA. Offense, I like Tennessee's offense. This is a really good offensive team. I said that coming into this game, but Georgia's defense is insane, and Georgia's defense stepped up to the occasion yet again. So, go Dogs. Yep. How about them Dogs? What a good win. I kind of expected Tennessee to somewhat be able to move the ball in the first half, and then, I did expect Georgia to take it on Tennessee in the second half. Is exactly how I thought this game would go. Congratulations, Tennessee. Scored the most points on UGA this year, 17 points, man. But still, is what it is. These slow starts on offense make me nervous, and it would have been nice to see JT a few drives. Yeah. It is what it is with JT Daniels. There's really nothing else I could say. I think he's the better QB. I think JT Daniels is way better than Stetson Bennett. The only plus side with Stetson Bennett is his ability to run. But that's really it. So, the slow starts might catch up to UGA one of these games, might catch them in the SEC title, maybe even in the SEC playoffs. Yeah, the college football playoffs. Listen, Tennessee's defense is not good. To only have 7 points in your first three drives, 2 straight 3-and-outs was kind of disappointing. But for the most part, both these teams started out quite well. In my opinion, it was 10-10 in the first 4 possessions each. So there is that, but still, Georgia was able to put it on them after that. So it's not too much of a big deal. I think what helped Tennessee move the ball was the up-tempo. Yeah, the up-tempo for Tennessee is really, really good. I think, and that helps a lot. I think Tennessee had, 90 plays in this game? Something like that. Yeah, they had 83 plays in this game. Georgia offensively had 70. So you see, Tennessee's up-tempo, their fast-paced offense is a great test for UGA. It was something I was very, very, very looking forward to see how this defense is. Because when you play better teams like Ohio State's the team I really, really expect UGA to play some point this year if it's in the semifinals or if it's in the national title. Ohio State's offense is similar in ways. It just has a lot better athletes. So that could be the difference. But anyway, yeah, it was a good test for Georgia's defense. And I thought Georgia's defense played really, really well today. Who has the second most high-powered offense behind Georgia? In the SEC, well, Alabama has a better offense than Georgia in the SEC. If we just go off of points, Georgia has a better offense than Tennessee, and I think higher than Ole Miss. Or maybe Ole Miss is just a little bit higher. But I wouldn't say Georgia's offense is high-powered at all. I would, they are scoring points, but they're not really scoring at will. But hey. But yeah, in the country, the best offensive team in the country is Ohio State, without a doubt. They put up 60 points today in the first 3 quarters and then kind of just ran the clock out. Ohio State's probably the second best team in the country. And I think Georgia and Ohio State are really, really close. I don't think anyone else is as close as them. But Ohio State still has to play Michigan State and Michigan and then probably Wisconsin. That is a tough span of 3 games. And they get all 3 of those teams in a row, by the way. So that is a tough span for Ohio State, as these next 3 weeks are going to be huge for them. I really do believe Ohio State will get through it. Michigan's probably their toughest test. But anyway, Georgia had 26 first downs. Tennessee had 22. Georgia was 5 of 12 on third downs. That's not really good. Tennessee was 9 of 19. That's not bad. 3 of 5 on fourth downs. Georgia defensively this year, they're giving up 50% of third down, maybe maybe in the 40s, but something around that. That's about what Tennessee had. Fourth downs, 3 of 5. Tennessee had that touchdown on fourth down. In fact, I think Tennessee was 2 in. Were they 3 and? Did they go 3 for 3 with Milton? I can't remember. It may have been. It may have been 2 for 2. Ohio State plays basically 3 top 12 teams in a row. So good luck with that. But I think they will go 3-0. But anyway, nothing really else to talk about on this game. This game really just wasn't close. I mean, yeah, you could say it was relatively close in the first half. I'm actually pleased with what Stetson Bennett did today. Tennessee's defense is not good at all. Missouri's defense is not good. How many good defenses had Georgia played? I would still consider Auburn to be a good defensive team. I know they gave up 100 points today, but still. Kentucky's a good defensive team. Again, they gave up a lot of points last week, but still. A lot of teams have outliers. Georgia does not yet, and I hope they do not, because when you are put into tougher situations against much better teams like Ohio State and Alabama, will Stetson Bennett cut it? We'll see. But he played fine again today. No turnovers, though. No turnovers for UGA. That's a plus. They won the turnover battle today 2-0. Last week, I think they were tied with Missouri 3-3, which is kind of surprising, but it is what it is. But hey, that's good enough for me. 41-17 win on the road against Tennessee. Hey, that's kind of what I was expecting. I mean, I said 42-14, I think. I did expect Tennessee to score two touchdowns in this game. They added a field goal to it. So it is what it is. Georgia's defense played pretty good for the most part. Again, a team that gets around 560, close to 600, or not really close to 600, but around 550, 560 yards per game offensively on total offense. Holding them to 387, that's pretty good. And for the most part, your first teamers held them under 300 yards. And a decent rushing offensive team, 55 yards rushing, that's really, really good. 36 attempts. I know all those sacks were in there. And Georgia was able to get to the QB a lot today. Really, Georgia could have had 10 sacks in this game. But shout out to Hendon Hooker and even Joe Milton. They were able to escape some of these dire situations. But, yeah, Georgia wins here big, 41-17. Next week, Charleston Southern finished the year against Georgia Tech. That's a road game, right? I think that is a road game. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it is. It doesn't really matter. Georgia Tech is now 3-7. Georgia Tech has lost the last 3 games, I believe. Actually 4. And their defense has been terrible for the most part all year. Their offense has been up and down. They don't really know who their QB is, it seems. I don't know what happened to Sims. Man, Georgia Tech is bad. The injuries today. Oh, that was so disappointing to see. Nolan Smith went out. Wyatt went out. Who else am I missing? But those two are very important players that we need on the defensive line. Jalen Carter was out, I think, with an illness, though. So I don't know if, that's that bad. But still, the injury bug was killing UGA, and it always seems to happen in Knoxville. People say it's the field, it's the turf, or maybe it's just bad luck. I don't know, but Georgia was hit with some injuries in the fourth quarter, especially, which is you never want to see that. It's always so disappointing with injuries, especially with a team that is already killed with injuries. My goodness. Wyatt got hurt quite a bit. I think he was okay at the end. I don't know what happened, but I saw Nolan Smith went to the locker room, so that kind of worried me. We need Nolan Smith, especially without Adam Anderson. Speaking of Adam Anderson, Robert Beal stepped up today, number 33 for UGA. He's not going to start. I think he's considered second string, but he had a sack in this game, and he played solid for the most part. So shout out to that. But, yeah, the injury bug was annoying today, and Georgia needs to stay healthy. Man, just talk about the injuries, especially at wide receiver. No Arian Smith now. Who else? Dominic Blaylock's not expected to play this year now. That will be 2 years of no football. Some people think he might be back for the SEC title game, but I absolutely doubt it. Still no George Pickens. My goodness, at wide receiver, man. But shout out to all the freshmen that have stepped up so far at wide receiver. That's what's going to happen. Georgia in the second half had 180 yards rushing. So, yeah, it was something close to that. Georgia was able to run the ball today. A lot of that was due to Tennessee's lack of depth and lack of talent, if we're being real. But still, Georgia's offensive line, top 10 in the country. I don't even know if that's a debate. They've been playing really, really well for the most part. They've only given up 6 sacks this year. And if we're being real here, those 4 sacks that Stetson Bennett has taken this year, at least 3 of them were his fault. No, actually, I think Georgia gave up 7 sacks, but it is what it is. Do you fear SB coming back next year and ruining future QB? He's coming back regardless. I don't know what else to say with Stetson Bennett. He played fine today, but man, at some point in time, you got to question what's going on with QB because every year Kirby Smart has been here, even including 2016. There's always been an issue with quarterback. 2016, Grayson Lambert was sent out to start against North Carolina. He was clearly not better than Jacob Eason, right? Then 2017, Jake Fromm comes in for the injured Jacob Eason. I get it, right? Jacob Eason was expected to be back midseason, a week before Florida, I believe. Jacob Eason is clearly better than Jake Fromm, right? We still see Jake Fromm. Okay, I get it. A lot of these games, the defense has won, especially in 2019. The defense, offensive line, and running backs won Georgia a lot of those games, if not all of them. You got to give Jake Fromm some credit in that year, too, in 2017. Hopefully I didn't say 2019, though. I don't know. I thought I said 2017. But anyway, then 2018, Justin Fields. 2019, there wasn't any QB controversy because there wasn't any other quarterback to be. And then last year, JT Daniels. Some say that he was ready before the Florida game. Some say he was even ready week 3. I don't know what there is to say with that, but still, I don't really know what's going to happen with the QB. I expect 2 of them to transfer this year because you got Gunner coming in, Gunner Stockton 4-star recruit, high 4-star, 6'1". I think he's like 200 something pounds. He's a dual threat quarterback out of I think he's out of Georgia. But I do expect Carson Beck to be fully transferred. But I'm not going to get into that. Georgia's a beast. No competition until playoffs. We are elite. Yeah, another game. Georgia dominates. They won by 24. Georgia average win margin is like 32 points, so it's a little bit under that today. But still, Tennessee is a good team. They're not a great team. I would say they're slightly above average. Their defense is not good at all. How many times has Tennessee given up over 40 points in this game? This year is kind of, they've given up a lot of points this year. But, I mean, you can't really blame Josh Heupel. He's doing a very, very, very good job at Tennessee. Recruiting, I don't really think Tennessee is at the level where they want to be. But we'll see what Josh Heupel can do. He needs to find some recruiters, honestly, if Tennessee wants to be really, really good. But they'll be good next year, though. But they do need to recruit a little bit better. I'm watching this Ole Miss Texas A&M game right in front of me. But anyway, but yeah, pretty much it. Georgia rolls 41-17. Had what? How many yards more than Tennessee? Had like what, 100? Exactly 100 yards more than Tennessee. But yeah, last 2 games of the year against bad teams, Charleston Southern and Georgia Tech. Those games should be at least what? Georgia should win this next game by 40 or 50 points. They should beat Georgia Tech by 30 at least. Last time Georgia played Georgia Tech was pretty bad, but Georgia's offense was terrible, and Georgia was able to put up 50 points today. Yeah, again, I don't really want to talk about the JT Daniels situation. There's really nothing else I can say. I mean, I think he's a better QB. He's more talented. He doesn't have the mobility like Stetson does, but he has the brain. And a lot of times you see the coverages in just Stetson Bennett not really recognizing the coverages pre-snap. That's what JT Daniels' best part of his game is, the pre-snap ability to identify coverages. If we're being real here, he's probably the best in the country at pre-snap ability, at least at quarterback. Anyway, Florida has some serious issues. They fired Todd Grantham. They still give up 50 points to Samford. Samford is a terrible team. I don't really see any Florida fans, giving you any excuses. But Samford this year is 4-6. They haven't been good all year. They're having one of their worst years. I think they're a young team too for an FCS team. That's embarrassing. You give up 50 points. That game was way closer than what people thought, and that's a danger zone for Florida, because that could be what we're seeing now with Florida could be a terrible look on this program and could absolutely kill their program if they keep Dan Mullen. I don't even think Dan Mullen is going to be the coach next year. There's just no way. I don't think Florida can do that to themselves. We are now a socialist. Has to share its 5. Gosh. Here's the thing. Yes, Georgia has a lot of 5-star players. Okay, I get it. But look at some of these stars, or at least some of the starters this year. McConkey, he's not a 5-star. He's a 3-star. Stetson Bennett's a walk-on. Dan Jackson, he started a couple games this year. He's a walk-on. Jordan Davis was a 3-star. So I understand everyone's expecting UGA to, just step up back in it, not see any, lack of improvement because of the injuries. But still, I mean, some of these players are not 5-stars. Kirby Smart this year has proven he's been developing a lot of these players. I'm just being real with you. I know that was Kirby Smart's quote unquote biggest downfall, what was his development. And he's proven to everybody this year that he's been developing players really, really well. Just look at the defense. And look at the defensive backs that he's put into the NFL. He's put in more 2-star, 3-star cornerbacks that went first round than any other team in the country this year since 2018. So just saying. And he put 5 DBs in the he put 5 DBs last year into the NFL, which is insane. In the draft, which is insane. These are lies. I was told that only Mullen can develop talent. Kirby doesn't develop any players. I was told this. It must be true. Yeah, literally what I just said. That's exactly what I was told. And for this year, it's been the complete opposite, hasn't it? Which is kind of funny. But man, Florida's in bad shape. Florida's probably going to finish the year 5-7 or 6-6. Florida State's playing a lot better. Missouri is Missouri. But from what I've seen from Florida this year, they look like they've quit and given up, not just on themselves, but on each other in that program. That's embarrassing for Florida. Another embarrassing week. Who cares if you win? Congratulations, you won. No, there's not a soul in Florida celebrating a 70 to 52 win against Samford, who again is not a good team, who's an FCS team and hasn't scored more than 35 points in a game this year, I believe, except for they may have had one. But again, I don't really follow FCS, but I was just looking at their score log. I didn't see many times that they scored 50 points. I can tell you that for sure. But still, Florida, embarrassing. That's tough, man. But it is what it is. Georgia doesn't have to worry about Florida. Georgia has Charleston Southern and Georgia Tech in the SEC title game, which as of right now looks like it's going to be Bama. Texas A&M's losing to Ole Miss. Ole Miss could go up by that's right here. Ole Miss could go up by 3 scores in the second quarter. Texas A&M's offense. Oh man, Matt Corral just fumbled as I just said that, and Texas A&M gets the ball back. So maybe Texas A&M wins out, and Bama loses a game. I just doubt it. Look who Bama plays. They play Arkansas next week, and then they play Auburn. Auburn has not looked the same since this A&M game, which was last week. And Arkansas just doesn't have the talent, and they run that 3-3-5 defense. I absolutely hate that defense, in my opinion. I know a lot of people feel differently on the 3-3-5 scheme. It's terrible. It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, I mean, it does. I'm not going to say it doesn't make any sense because it is Arkansas. They are lacking in talent in depth across the board. But still, I will never run a 3-3-5 in my opinion. I like the 3-3-4 or 3-3-4. I like the 3-4 defense. I like the 4-3 scheme. I do like the 4-2-5 base scheme. I hate the 3-3-5 base scheme. It just makes no sense to me. Yeah, it's probably going to be Alabama and Georgia in the SEC title, and this is what we want. I love Texas A&M. I like Jimbo Fisher, but I want to play Bama. This team has a lot to prove. It seems every week. Every week this team is doubted. Georgia is doubted almost every week. If it's the spread, if it's that people think they're going to lose for some reason. Go back to Clemson. Week 1 against Clemson. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we were gonna lose this game preseason, but then the week before, I was starting to get into the UGA fandom, and I was like, well, Georgia's gonna win this game. As a fan, kind of getting a little bit too biased. But a lot of people said Georgia was gonna get stomped. This game wasn't gonna be close. I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Georgia and Clemson. Remember, preseason were 2 evenly matched teams, at least again preseason. Then moving on, who does Georgia play? They play Arkansas. Arkansas was probably Georgia's biggest test then. Yeah. People are like, oh, this is Georgia's game. They're going to lose. Arkansas is hot. They're a top 10 team. Their offense has been really, really good. KJ Jefferson is the next Cam Newton. This, that, in between. Georgia 37-0s them. Then we got Auburn. Oh, man, Auburn's a really, really good team. I'm telling you, this is the game Georgia's going to lose. Georgia beats them 34-10. And so on and so forth. Florida's going to get them. Kentucky's going to get Georgia. Missouri, Georgia's not going to cover the 40-point spread against Missouri. They're just not good enough. The same thing. It's like every week. Tennessee, oh man, Tennessee's going to win. So we hear this as Georgia fans every single week. You got to catch that. But yeah, it is kind of funny. Yeah, I want Bama too. I just want to beat them. I'm telling you right now, I think Alabama is the third best team in the country. I think Georgia would beat them by at least two possessions. And I know that's, you might say I'm a biased fan. I get it. But from what I've seen so far, Bryce Young does not handle pressure as well as Bama fans would like. The rush game is non-existent. It would not matter against UGA. I know Bama's rush game has gotten better, but it would not matter against UGA. It would be non-existent. And then defensively, they've had some issues this year on all aspects of the ball, except for really defensive line. But still, they've given up some rushing yards. They gave a lot of rushing yards to Florida. Their defense in some of their biggest moments has been a disappointment. Against the Florida game, against Texas A&M. Texas A&M, that was just a very big disappointment. Against Tennessee, their defense was letting them down. So I really, really, really think Georgia would beat Alabama by 2 possessions. I really do believe that. If they were to meet in Atlanta, which I do expect them to. But hopefully there's no more hopefully there is no more injuries, man. I think you stop well, here's the thing. Alabama's got a really, really good passing offense. They're top 5 in passing. Maybe not statistically, but still, just go watch them play. Them and Ohio State, throw in Ole Miss. Those are probably your 3 best passing offensive teams. Who am I missing? I guess you got to say Mississippi State, but I'm just basing it off of the scheme, really. Air raid's kind of it's a little bit different, but yeah, Alabama's passing offense is insane, and there are some years in which Georgia really shut down the rushing against Alabama, and Bama still was able to score with their passing and their elite wide receivers. Looking at Bama's wide receiving core this year, they have 1 elite wide receiver, Jamison Williams. They don't have multiple. John Mechie is a very good wide receiver. He's not elite, in my opinion. Then who else they have? Hall. They have a couple really good wide receivers. Not on the elite level, at least in my opinion. But yeah, Alabama versus Georgia expected to be the SEC championship game. A number 1 versus 2 game, that would be insane. I would love to see that. Last time that there was a number 1 versus number 2 SEC title game was back in 2009, Florida and Alabama. Bama won that one by 20 points. That was Tebow's last year. Man, that was such a fun game to watch. My dad was rooting for Tim Tebow in that game, and I was hoping Bama would win that game. I didn't, I was only 9 years old. I didn't expect that game to be a blowout, but still, that was the last time number 1 versus number 2 team met in the SEC title game. I mean, it's been really, really close, especially in recent years. Georgia, Alabama, that was number 1 versus number 4. That was 2018. LSU, Georgia, 2019, number 1 versus 4. 2017, number 6, Georgia versus number 2, Auburn. 2012, number 2, Alabama versus number 3, Georgia. So there have been some elite matchups, which is great. Bama lost Trey Sanders. Oh no, not Trey Sanders. They lost. They lost for number 2. Is that McClellan? I think that's it. McClellan, something like that. Number 23, I believe. Bama does not really, if we're being real here, they do not have a true number 2 back because their running backs this year have been very disappointing. And that's why I'd give the edge to UGA. Running backs are just as important as wide receivers, especially for Bama. You look at the past 4 meetings for UGA and Bama. Who has been the hero for Bama? Last year, I get it. Offensively, Mac Jones played a really, really good game, but the safety blanket was Najee Harris. I think he had over 100 yards rushing against UGA, or very close to 100 yards rushing, and he had a couple catches too. I'm talking about LSU for some reason. I'm comparing LSU to Alabama. 2019 LSU, they were really, really, really good. And their running back had a really, really big game too. So rushing against UGA has been huge in some of these bigger matchups like Alabama, Georgia, and LSU, Georgia. So Bama does not have a number 2 running back. It's Williams. Oh, Rondale Williams. I didn't think he was number 2. I thought it was McClellan. Or didn't they already lose McClellan? Let me see. Now I got to look this up. Make sure I'm right because I hate being wrong. Let's see. I'm pretty sure McClellan is their second string running back. No, you're right. It is Roydale Williams. I was just mixing up the numbers for some reason. Nice. But yeah, they lost him today. I did not even know that. I wasn't even watching that game. Wow. That's huge. Yeah, Roydale Williams. That was who I was talking about, number 23. I thought it was McClellan. And I'm probably saying his name wrong too, but I know he was a 5-star. I don't know about Roydale Williams. I think he was, a 4-star. But yeah, they lost McClellan week 2. So I mixed up the numbers. Nice. So there you go for me. But yeah, Georgia will probably play Alabama. I don't see Bama losing another game. I get it. Arkansas is a good team. Arkansas runs that 3-3-5 though. You can't beat Bama with a 3-3-5. There has not been a team in the Nick Saban era that has beaten Bama with a 3-3-5 defensive scheme. You just can't. You have to have 4 on the line at least. Come on. I just don't understand it. Again, they don't have. I said it earlier. They don't have the athletes yet at Arkansas, but come on. I just don't like it. I just don't like that scheme. I can go on and on about it. There'd just be no reason to. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Good win for UGA. We'll talk. Last thing to talk about. Georgia wins 41-17. Completely dominated the game from the second quarter on. First quarter, Tennessee gave Georgia a lot to look at in the first 2 or 3 drives. You could really, really tell those read option plays where they slipped out the offensive, the guard, I think, in the the guards that they worked on in the first quarter, the first 2 drives. Georgia instantly found a way to come up with a alternative to stop the run, which is why Georgia held them to negative 15 yards rushing in the second half on 19 attempts. Imagine just saying that. Georgia held Tennessee to negative 15 yards rushing in the second half on 19 attempts. That's insane, man. But yeah, you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys maybe next week. I don't know if there's any point to do a post game. I'll definitely see you Georgia Tech. Maybe not. We'll see. I don't know when I'll see you guys next. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys are subscribed to both the Georgia channel and the SEC channel at the Voice of College Football. We do videos daily, especially during the college football season. Mark Rogers especially has other people on board during the week. He gets analysts from all around the country to come in and do videos with him, which is very cool, by the way. He gets guys from 247 Sports. He gets guys from all throughout the country, all different all different sporting analyst sites. You'll see Mark Rogers is able to get them. Make sure you guys are subscribed and like the video and comment while you're at it for us. Comment if you're still watching this video. Tell me what you think the score prediction next week will be against Charleston Southern. I want to see some comments. I'll look through them. In a day or so. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.